Hello and welcome back to In the Slant. For the first time in the Slant history, I'm on here with a solo dolo episode. This is episode number 80. Recording this on the 30th. We have football tomorrow. Unfortunately, schedules did not align for all four of us, or even three of us, or even two of us to be here. Obviously, when I originally start, I'm usually out here asking the boys how they're doing, but since I'm alone today, we don't get to do that. We just get to come in here, jump right in, and only get my opinion today. Unfortunately, before we get into today's video, make sure you guys drop a like on this one and subscribe if you are new to this channel. I shouldn't take too much of your time today. It's just me talking, so let's just get straight into things. So, of course, we had a game on Thursday. The Lions and the Packers went toe-to-toe in Lambeau, and wow, did the Lions come out there and absolutely smack around the Packers. The score ended up being 34-20. The Packers did for a second make it somewhat interesting. I thought they might make a comeback like they did last week against the Saints, but the Lions ultimately hang on. The game starts. Jared Goff throws an interception. Packers go up 3-0, and you're starting to wonder if the Packers, have a little bit of juice to maybe beat the Lions. And no, that was not the case at all. David Montgomery absolutely had himself a game. I apologize if you played David Montgomery in fantasy, by the way, because I did. I wish Alex was here because Alex is who I'm playing this week, and he has David Montgomery. I had a Monroe St. Brown who had an okay game, but yeah, I played Montgomery. So we're not off to a great start as far as me maybe winning fantasy this week. Alex is 3-0. I'm 2-1. I would love to take down Alex, make him 3-1. We'll see if I can somehow have someone drop 30 to match Montgomery on Sunday. But as I said, Montgomery, 32 carries, 121 yards, 3 touchdowns. A lot of people are upset with Jahmyr Gibbs' usage. Like, they took him in the first round, and he's not used enough. Obviously, fantasy people very mad about that. I don't know what the plan is going to be for Jahmyr Gibbs going forward, but I assume as the season goes along, he will get more and more involved. So I guess we just got to be patient with that. But other than that, there wasn't anything else too impressive. I will say Sam Laporta by far has looked like the best rookie tight end this year. I will say that. As far as the Packers are concerned, Jordan Love just kind of had a shaky game. Christian Watson and Aaron Jones were back. Only 5 carries for Aaron Jones in this game, which I'm quite surprised by. I don't even think he had a single. He had 1 reception for -4 yards, so I was quite surprised by that as well with them playing from behind. Christian Watson did have a touchdown, 2 receptions for 25 yards, but ultimately, as I said, the Packers somewhat made it interesting. We went into halftime. It was, 27-3 or something like that. Absolutely insane. And the Packers come out. They score right away. 2-point conversion converted as well, but the Lions ultimately scored a touchdown to shut that down. Felt like the Packers kept giving the Lions the ball in like short fields, so ultimately the Packers do get beat here. Lions go to 2-1 or 3-1 or 3-1, sorry, and then Green Bay falls to 2-2 ultimately. So nothing else to really say about this game. The Lions are the team I expected them to be. I will say the Packers, I saw they put out a letter that they were very upset about how many Lions fans were at Lambeau. But the Lions are just becoming a popular team, man. They've been a team that's been really bad the last whatever many years, and now they're finally starting to get something going. Jared Goff looks good, and they have a really good foundation right now. So I'm very, very happy for Lions fans at the moment. This is a really good time to be a Lions fan. I will say that. I will definitely say that. Dan Campbell has the boys believing. So I remember Dan Campbell was like an interim head coach, I believe, in I want to say it was in Miami, if I'm not mistaken. And he always sounded like he said all the right things. I'm glad he got another opportunity, and he's been doing really good things in Detroit. 3-1 on the season, and then like their next 2 games, I believe, are fairly easy. They get Carolina next week, so we could easily see the Lions going to 4-1 and maybe start to run away with this division in the NFC North. So shout out to the Detroit Lions for what they are doing right now. But let's get into our prediction segment, shall we? Obviously, I will be doing this alone, but I will tell you, I got all the boys' predictions here. And we're honestly, a lot of us are pretty different this week. And as you can see, we have a new screen for these predictions. You can actually see our faces now here in the bottom of the screen. It's just me this week because obviously all the boys are gone. It's just me. I apologize. But let's go ahead and just get straight into everyone's predictions. I'll recap them and go through them. So the week started off with Jared having an island for the Green Bay Packers. That obviously did not work out for him. Alex, Dustin, and I all go to 1-0 on the week. I needed that win over Jared. Jared obviously is in first place right now, so that definitely gives me a little bit of ground. Hopefully, I can keep it up throughout the week. So yeah, we already kind of went over the Lions-Packers games. We all kind of know, our Packers game, we all know how that went. But next, we have a London game. We got Falcons and Jaguars. All of us are on the Jaguars. The Jaguars have struggled so far to start the season, but I'm predicting that they get it together against Atlanta. I can see a world where Atlanta comes out and wins this game. Arthur Smith has a way of obviously calling games, and it seems to work out for him. So I would not be like totally shocked if the Falcons came out here and won this game, but we are all on the Jaguars. No one is predicting the Falcons to win for this week. Next game is probably the game of the week. Bills and Dolphins. Obviously, the Dolphins are red hot right now. The Bills looked really good against my Commanders last week. Right now, it looks like Alex and I are on the Dolphins. And then, yeah, Dustin's on an island here picking the Bills. I will say, this was a very tough game for me to predict. I really, really wanted to maybe pick the Bills, but I ultimately went with the red hot Dolphins right now. Jalen Waddle also out of concussion protocol is going to be a huge boost for that Dolphins offense that literally just dropped 70 last week. So imagine adding Jalen Waddle to this fold. Obviously, they're not playing the Broncos this time around. It is the Bills. But I can see where this island works out for Dustin. I think the Bills could definitely win this game. I wouldn't be shocked at all. It is in Buffalo. Should be a fun game. Should be the game of the week. It's kind of a crime that it's at noon, in my opinion. I think this game should be a primetime game with because we get Jets and Chiefs Sunday Night Football. I get why they had that originally with Aaron Rodgers and Mahomes, but I can't believe we're robbed of that again, by the way. Just ultimate. We're never going to see it, it feels like. But, yeah, so Dolphins, Bills should be a very fun game. Next game is two 0-2 teams going at it. Vikings, Panthers. I think the Vikings get this one. The Panthers are going to have Bryce Young come back. It sounds like this week. He was out last week. They did have Andy Dalton there last week, and he threw like the ball like 60 times or something like that. Now, Adam Thielen gets to play his former team, so that should be interesting, but we're all on the Vikings. We think they're going to go to 1-3. I feel like the Panthers Bryce Young, I don't know if is ready to I don't know. I'm not ready to pick Bryce Young to come out here and beat the Vikings, but I guess anything is possible. Next game, we got the Bears and the Broncos, the two other 0-3 teams. I think I said 0-2, by the way. I think it's 0-3. Sorry. So Panthers, Vikings 0-3, and then obviously Broncos, Bears also 0-3. Someone has to win this game. So it looks like Dustin and Jared are on the Bears, and Alex and I are on the Broncos. This is a toss-up. It is in Soldier Field. It could go either way, right? Like, both teams are not looking very good right now. I would predict that I'm predicting the Broncos could win. I can see either team winning this game ultimately, but I did choose the Denver Broncos, and we'll just kind of see how that works out for me. But now we're on to works out for me and Alex, because Alex and I are both on the Broncos, not on an island. I got ahead of myself because I'm on an island in this Browns-Ravens game. On an island, we got the Browns and the Ravens, two division rivals. Deshaun Watson is questionable for this game, so if he does not play, that ultimately does not look very good for me. But the Browns do have a pretty good backup quarterback. I forget what his name is, like Dorian something. But he was really good in the preseason, so maybe he could try in the regular season as well. But yeah, I picked the Browns because I love their defense so far. Deshaun Watson looked really good last week. I obviously made this prediction before the Watson news came out, so this could not work out for me. This island really could be ugly for me. I really need it. If I can get this island, I would be chilling. I'd be in an absolute great mood for this one. But I will say, I think the Ravens are struggling with a lot of injuries as well. It's in Cleveland, which is why I was okay with picking the Browns. But we'll see if that ultimately works out for me. I can see a world where it does not. Next game, Steelers Texans. This one should be a fun one. I can see this going either way because ultimately the Steelers just got to win against the Raiders, but the Steelers have struggled a little bit to start the season. They really have. So I can see a world where Houston, CJ Stroud has been very, very impressive, which Dustin and Jared are on the Texans while Alex and I are on the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's somewhat interesting. And it almost continues that way as well with the next game, which is something that is kind of funny and it's ironic. But CJ Stroud, as I said, has looked really good. Kenny Pickett has had his ups and downs so far this season. But I'm just going to trust that the Steelers defense can rattle CJ Stroud a little bit, but we shall see. But as I said, Rams Colts should be another fun one. Anthony Richardson is back as well. Obviously, has looked really good through the first couple games he's played. Obviously, was out in week 3. But Alex and I are on the Colts. We think Anthony Richardson is going to get it done, while Dustin and Jared are on the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are also very, very good so far to start the season. Not very, very good, but they've been interesting to start the season. Obviously, they're going to have Cooper Kupp back soon as well. Puka Nacua has been amazing for them. Should be a fun game. I can see this one going either way. To be honest with you, week 4 by far has been my toughest prediction by far. Like, predicting these games was the toughest for me by far. Like, the top half, I could see a lot of these games going either way. The only one I'm like truly confident in is probably that Vikings game. Like, I think everything else is a toss-up in my opinion. Next game, Buccaneers, Saints. Sound like Jameis Winston will be starting, so he gets to play his former team. We are all on the Buccaneers to come out here and beat Jameis Winston and the Saints. So I don't really have much else to add to this game. Baker Mayfield has looked pretty good. Obviously, they played the Eagles last week. They lost, but I assume they bounce back here. They do have to do it in New Orleans. We shall see. Commanders, Eagles. Eagles obviously undefeated so far to start the season. Commanders got absolutely obliterated last year, or not last year, last season, or last game. Why am I saying last year, last season? Last game by the Buffalo Bills. I will say, though, as we know, I'm just saying, just going to throw it out there. The last time the Eagles were undefeated, we all know who beat them. The first team who beat them was my Commanders. It's a division game. It could go either way. It is in Philadelphia. So obviously that's going to be tough, but should be a fun one regardless. I am picking the Eagles to win this. I mean, the Commanders' offensive line is horrible. And as we know, the Eagles' pass rush is pretty scary. So I feel like Sam Howell's going to get sacked like 7 times in this game. And obviously that does not lead to a lot of positive results in a game if that is what's going to happen. So ultimately, I am picking against my favorite team. I think the Eagles win this one because of the Commanders' offensive line. It's so bad. So maybe we win, though. I'd be a very happy man if we won. But I was not going to be the one to predict it and then, drop another game to these guys. So next game, we got the Bengals and the Titans. The Titans only scored 3 points last week. But the Bengals, they kind of, I don't know. They still didn't look that impressive on their win against the Rams. Joe Burrow, obviously not fully healthy, but regardless, they still won the game. That's what matters. I think Tennessee is one of those teams you could pass on pretty nicely. I mean, Watson had his best game as a pro since obviously he came back from Houston. So I think that Joe Burrow could have a great day against the Titans in the air. Obviously, I think I don't know who I was about to say. Jamar Chase. I was saying Jamal. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins should have a great game. Although I am playing T. Higgins this week, so kind of hoping he kind of has a dud week again, fantasy wise. But next game, Raiders Chargers. Obviously, if I was to speak for Dustin is out here picking against his former team. He hates this team. He hates Josh McDaniels. He wants him fired. He wants everybody gone. Trade Devontae Adams. Dustin's already ready to give up on the season, it feels like. Maybe not. He hates Jimmy G, by the way. Just never liked that signing. And yeah, I mean, he threw 3 interceptions last, what was it, Monday? Was it? Oh, no, Sunday Night Football. So we're all on the Chargers. Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Obviously, they almost lost last week off a interesting decision by Brandon Staley, but they ultimately won the game. They're 1-2. Herbert's been really good. Keenan Allen's been really good. And then obviously, Austin Eckler is going to be out for this game, it sounds like. He is doubtful at the moment, but we shall see. Should be a fun game. Division rivalry game. Should be fun. Patriots Cowboys. Ezekiel Elliott gets to play his former team, but we are all on the Cowboys. They just lost to the Cardinals last week. I expect to bounce back. Obviously, Cowboys defense is probably going to rattle Mac Jones a little bit, I imagine, as well. And they're at home, so I really expect a big bounce back game from the Dallas Cowboys. We're all on the Cowboys. No change there. We're all on the 49ers as well, although the Cardinals have been in every single game they've played this year. They just beat the Cowboys last week in a huge upset. I don't think they do it to their division rival, the 49ers. They've looked really good so far this season. And I think Debo's out this week, if I'm not mistaken, and Brandon Ayuk should be good to go. So I expect a big game from Brandon Ayuk. And then probably the worst Sunday Night Football game we'll get this season, Jets Chiefs. Zach Wilson still starting. I hope that changes very soon for the Jets. He just isn't very good, man. Let's be honest with ourselves. So unfortunately, we all got the Chiefs winning this game. What happened to Aaron Rodgers is tragic, man, as we know. It sucks. It really sucks to see. But it is the reality of what happened, and Zach Wilson is still the starter. Although it sounds like Aaron Rodgers may be on the sideline for this game, so maybe that changes some things. Of course, Taylor Swift is going to be there as well, from what everybody is saying. So that's huge news as well. Now, I will say, I just saw, as I was recording this, I saw a note about Saquon. So Saquon will be a game-time decision. Andrew Thomas is out for Monday night. So we are all, or no, sorry. There's actually, we got some differences here. So Alex and I are on the New York Giants. They're in MetLife for this game, and Dustin and Jared are on the Seahawks. This is a game that I think could go either way. I actually kind of like this Monday Night Football game. Should be a fun one. But ultimately, I am down 5 games. I'm hoping to gain some ground this week. I don't know if I like tie Jared or anything like that, but if I can cut it to like 2 or 3, that would be ideal. I just got to gain somewhat, gain some ground here. I'm down 5 right now to first place. I just got to get out last place. Ultimately, that's my goal. Get out last place. Browns, if you could win this week, you'd really help me out with that. Help me out with that big time. Hopefully Watson plays. But I think that's going to do it for us, boys. I mean, should be a fun week. Week 4 NFL, it's fun, man. Obviously, football is here. We love it. Should be a ton of fun. But I think that's gonna do it for us, boys. So obviously, I'm alone to do this outro. But I thank you guys for watching anyway. As always, we'll see y'all in the next one. This is In the Slant. By myself, I'm saying peace. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go ahead and click here to subscribe, and of course, to watch some more.